And we're live.
Well, good morning, everyone, to the Mr. Hack meeting. And I call the meeting to order at 9 a.m. And we are in open session already. Could I have an approval of the agenda? Item 3.
So
Hands
moved.
up. Okay, Bruce Lepper and David Franco have moved it. All in favor, hands up, please. Carried. Thank you.
Give me one moment, Chairman Ross.
Yeah. No problem.
Mhm.
Can everybody see that now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Proceed. I apologize.
No problem. I'm just...
Cindy, I have a big image of myself on the screen, and so it's overlapping the agenda. How do I get rid of it?
I believe, based with an iPad, you need to, Councillor Huntley, can you throw me a bone here? I think you need to click on yourself and kind of drag yourself over.
No,
Okay.
I don't like dragging.
Is anybody else on an iPad by chance that might be able to see how to put it into either split screen view or gallery, like the view that has
I
just...
think if you touch the screen, Peter, you'll see at the bottom of it a few different layout options.
Oh dear.
Their screen is up.
So you've now got the agenda, Peter?
Well, it's there, but my image is overlapping it.
Oh, can you, with your finger, push it over? Does that work? Or with the... I don't
Like
know what I'm
almost
talking
like-
about.
I know.
You're
I
right,
don't
like,
either.
slide it away.
Yeah, like slide it somehow.
Slide it over. Have we lost Peter now? His picture soon is it there?
Nope, I don't see Peter. Give me one
We've
second
lost.
here.
I
Let
think
me-
he's probably turned himself off.
Let me see. I don't even see him.
Oh dear.
Let me see if he's in the participant window.
He's floating
No,
around he's floating
we've
around
lost-
in the ether.
There may have been a connectivity issue because I don't even see him on as a panelist in here anymore. So he will probably rejoin us.
Okay, well let's carry on then.
Yeah, I agree.
At item 4, disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. Hearing none, I'll move on to item 5, closed session, which we're not in. Moving on to item 6, the minutes of June 17th, item 6.1, which you have. Could I have a motion to accept the minutes? I see any hand will do. Councillor Huntley and Heather Clark, thank you very much. All in favor? Hands up. Carried. Thank you. Okay, sorry. Minutes arising. There's a business arising. Can't talk today. Business arising from the minutes. Item 7, and the feasibility study. Item 7.1. The old Arena Millbrook, a draft letter, and I believe David Franco
Yep.
was going to take care of that with his
Yep.
subcommittee.
I took Ryan Huntley's words to heart, and I kept it very short and sweet with no specific details. So see what you think of it.
Can everybody see that? Is it large enough?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I should know this, but has this been distributed before this moment, or is this the first time people are seeing this? I've seen it in. Okay, so we, David, can you see it well enough to read it aloud?
Yep.
Or could you do that for us?
Okay. We are writing to confirm our support for the development of a green space on the site currently occupied by the old community center. Numerous studies have clearly demonstrated the many benefits of such sites. They provide wonderful meeting places where residents can enjoy the beauty of the sites while socializing with friends. They also serve as an enticement for people considering making the community their home. We are convinced that our proposal would enhance village life aesthetically, socially, and financially.
Okay, so I think the point of this is to have input from the, at this point on the agenda, to have input from the members of the committee in terms of adding or whatever this letter. Any reaction? Councillor Huntley, I see your hand.
Yeah, so through you, Chair. I just thought the first sentence of the second paragraph, numerous studies are clearly demonstrated many benefits of such a site. I think we have to be specific and say numerous studies have clearly demonstrated the many benefits of a green space, like,
Okay.
or of a green space, right? Like, it's too generic of just saying such a site.
Okay. David's noting that. Bridget, yes. Ms. Ayotte.
I would agree with Councillor Huntley, and I think actually, like when we reviewed it yesterday, just as staff, I wonder, David, if you would give us a bit of permission to kind of, I think you can beef it up a little bit with specifics with regards to your downtown revitalization. You did a fairly extensive public consultation with regards to what to do around that area. You have your even though it's like it's a conceptual plan, so it wasn't adopted, but it's still a concept that I think could be brought to council's attention. You have your streetscape design guidelines. You even have in the wording in the community improvement plan for council to take like a leadership role. And this could be some sort of a project council could take on. Like I think there's things like, as Councillor Huntley had said, like be more specific. I think there's things that we could pull out of all of those documents to
Sorry, Ryan Huntley said precisely the opposite. He said they've heard every argument conceivable, and this letter is simply to give our opinion, to express that we are in favor of it. I think what you're suggesting, I mean, it's a valid point, but I think it defeats the purpose of this letter.
Yeah, so just to comment on that, David. So I think, Bridget, I think the direction I was trying to coach was, slamming down all the studies and reports that have already been done might be a little bit of overkill again. Like we've got those letters already, and we've got the delegations that have done that already. So I think this was more just slanted towards that Mr. Hack itself is in support of the green space, not trying to regurgitate all the studies that have already been done.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other comments before I weigh in?
That said, I would say it's, I love brevity, but I think it's a little too brief. Like maybe we could add a little something to it. I'm just trying to rack my brain on kind of what it would be.
Okay, well, this is just simply the first.
Sorry, Councillor Huntley, did you want to finish your thought there, or have you finished?
I think we just kind of need to maybe even a closing summary paragraph that's a little bit bigger, that has a kind of a push towards hoping that the council listens to the public meetings that are in the future, like kind of almost like our opinion is this, and we really hope that you listen to what's feedback you're going to get, and you don't have predetermined notions.
As I say, I'm open to any suggestions. You can rewrite the whole thing if you like.
I don't think that's quite the point of me writing it.
Any other input? Bridget, yes.
Would it make sense for you to maybe ask to be considered a stakeholder in the process? Because I believe that there's additional public consultation that is part of this process. So rather than all of you just being asked to attend any type of or participate in any survey or attend an open house, would it make sense that you take a little bit more of a participatory role? You'd be more of a stakeholder than just kind of a general member of the public. I think you've earned that right, but it's up to you guys what you.
And what does, sorry, Bridget, so what does a stakeholder actually mean? Does it mean like during one of these public consultations that a delegate from this committee would be presenting something, or does it just, what does status of stakeholder provide, I guess is the question.
Well, in the past, when we've done, I know when we did the streetscape design guidelines and we did the community improvement plan, there was kind of a separate discussion that took place with our identified stakeholders prior to the actual public meeting. So you kind of got a little bit, it's almost like preferred seating, I guess, is, you know, you kind of got a little bit of a preferred seating at the table.
Right.
So you had a bit more opportunity to guide the process, if that's, I don't know if that's the right word, but you kind of had a little bit more active role than, you know, somebody who's just attending just as a resident.
I'm a bit confused. So would we ask for that status in this letter? Is that the point?
That was my thought, but
yeah,
it's up to you guys.
Well, through you, Chair, would you ask for it or would you just state it like as a key stakeholder in the community?
Yeah, either one. Yeah, I think it's important to identify that you are a stakeholder. Yeah.
You could add those words to the last sentence.
Yeah.
As a stakeholder, we are whatever.
Yeah.
Other input. I guess if I may give my own view here, I think it would be helpful to allude briefly to some of, as Bridget has said, to some of the work that has been done. We don't have to go into great detail, but a lot of work went in, and I don't think it would hurt to remind council of some of the stuff that's, because it's previous council, isn't it? That in some cases, I mean, it's not people that were necessarily part of the original work. So I don't think we need to go into great detail. You could even have a footnote or something, but I think it's not just numerous studies. It's the work that we've done, that previous iterations of this committee have done. So that, I don't think that would hurt if it wasn't too long, but that's just my
through you, Chair. I mean, you could numerous studies which include and then list.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. So just a little bit more specific without getting into huge detail, you know, because you're right. It's all, they can read the stuff. It's all there, but sometimes people need to be reminded that it's all there. It's specific, the specific reports. So where do we, any other comments on this? Yes, sir. Oh, wait a second. No, I'm seeing a hand that's not there. Okay, I got to get new reading glasses. In fact, I'll put them on right now. I'm missing a part of my reading glasses, so you see, it said it doesn't look too great. that's better. I can actually see now. Okay, would it be appropriate to, I mean, with great thanks to the work that David and I think it's just David and his group have done, if there was a group, pass this on to staff to sort of add some of that material? Would that be appropriate?
I think that's a good idea.
Bridget's nodding her head. Does that mean acquiescence? Silence means consent in this case.
That's
okay.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think that I'd be happy to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
And just through you, Chairman Rust, I do see that Peter and Ashley have joined us. Are they able to hear us or participate? I just want to make sure that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
perfect.
a problem.
Perfect. Ashley?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I just know that you had comments about this letter, so I just want to make sure that you could participate once we had sent that through. So that's great. Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So do you have anything to add at this point about the letter before we move on? Either Ashley or Peter?
No, I'm fine with the draft.
All right.
Oh, okay, good. All right, so that's just a request of staff to do a bit of editing and
Bedazzling.
But you're right. What if the motion through you, Chairman Ross, is something that staff finalized the letter prepared by Mr. Hack, and I think you should sign it as the chairman, and then we can forward it for consideration through the consultation period.
That sounds very good. So could I have a motion for that? David, maybe you should move it.
I'll so move it.
Okay, seconder, Bruce Lepper, all in favor, say hands up for those I can see, although I can now see Ashley. Hands up. And Peter, are you in favor?
Yes, I'm waving my hand.
Okay, but we can't see you, but that's good. Okay, all in favor, that carried. Thank you. Okay.
Does that help anything, Chairman Ross, if I stop sharing? Can you see everybody when I do this? Does that give you a little bit better opportunity when you call?
No, I can see everybody. It's just the people that are not on the screen, and I don't have the little function to, automatic hands up. So for some reason or other, that's not working on my.
Can you see Ashley?
I could briefly, but no, it's you and Ashley I can't see. So we'll just get verbal yays or nays from you. Okay, moving on. Item 8.1, BIA report. Ms. Clark.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I just had a first meeting with the BIA, just trying to get up to speed. Reviewing, I've got some documents, but not all. So I still need to get everything all together and then make sense of it all. So I apologize. I don't have any kind of feedback or financial report at this time, and until I get everything in front of me and understand it all.
Okay, fair enough. It's early days and it is summer too. So
yes.
So okay. Well, that being the case, I guess we'll move on then to general business. Item 9.1, 26 King Street East storefront. Ms. Ayotte. Oops, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted.
There you are. There you are.
That doesn't happen often enough.
Where's that magic button, Cindy?
Yeah, exactly. She sits on it. So as we all know, I apologize, guys. I haven't been able to make the last couple of meetings because I've been on course. So the 26 King Street, obviously, I think most of you are aware. Chloe had the owner. She is, the store is actually a hair salon, and I believe it's kind of like a spa-like salon. I haven't actually been down there myself. But probably Heather and Ryan can kind of confirm. But she did paint the store. It isn't within our palette, so I circulated a note to the committee what you thought. Certainly Chloe's wanting to, maintain whatever standard of design that has been put in place. She, was just kind of eager to get it painted. And I think she had kind of a last minute opportunity to get the paint at a certain price, I think was why she kind of acted quickly. So all fair, no concerns there. But so we did reach out. Ashley, thank you very much. You had some really great recommendations. And I think we were kind of a little, on both sides of the fence. Option one was the color selection falls within the initiative of the guidelines as per the yellow highlight. Perhaps we could inquire if there was if she was open to adding another accent trim color to soften the amount of blue and a muted tone for some accents, including the doors. They have substantially less glazing than their neighbors, and this is why the blue is really sticking out. The option two was to start from scratch, follow the guidelines with a muted base, and then use the blue as an accent. So I think when you guys all responded to me, I think you guys were both kind of on both sides. Some wanted to start over again, some thought, okay, maybe we can work with it. So I'm just asking if we can come to a resolution. Before you make that decision or have that conversation, Karen did a little splunking, and she actually found a picture of the building from the significant architectural book that was done. And the color is actually very similar, if not the same, as what Chloe has put on, minus the white door. So the door, it's all one color. If I could share, Cindy, is there a chance I can share my screen? You're muted, honey.
Yeah, you can share it. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'll just see if I can. Okay. So that was what Karen pulled out from the significant architectural guidelines document. And if you give me a sec, I'll see if I can find Chloe's. Down here somewhere. Actually, I think I did save it. Thought I saved it. There it is. Yeah. Okay, so are you able to see the
Nope, same picture.
same picture? Okay,
Yeah. Now,
give me a
You'll
sec.
have to stop sharing that current
Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
Hmm.
I was hoping I might get fancy, but
yeah.
no such luck. There, can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you can see it's pretty close,
It is.
a little lighter. So
Can I make a comment on the color? The way that is now and the previous picture you showed us are both contemporary renderings of the color on that storefront. They're not in keeping with the original concept. In the previous one, the store next door to this one, to the one, in other words, as we're looking at it right now, where the Millbrook Mercantile is located, they had a mixture of tonal values. And I think that's the sort of thing I'm assuming that Ashley was referring to insofar as working with the complementing one color with a lighter version of something that will go with it.
okay.
Ashley, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, I'm just thinking. I'm trying to put my words together. So
Oh, sure.
now that I saw the, if we want to call it a historical photo, I'm not sure what the date of that photo was. It looked like there was significant awnings on what is now the Mercantile. So that makes it look completely different as well.
Mhm.
But in general, like, it's just I think what's making the I think the new salon looking so different is the Mercantile has changed so much, and it's quite sleek looking, not only with its color but with the amount of glass. So you can get away with such a dark color, and it can understand why the salon picked a solid color, because she's looking at her neighbor. The other item is the color choice herself she chose. I believe she took it from the Benjamin Moore heritage line, which is something I refer to daily in practice. And to be honest, a color choice, something like she did there, would not be unusual. If you got into doing a color analysis and getting a conservator involved, something like that would have been quite acceptable. You know, dating back probably 1800s, early 1900s. So I think we just sort of have to step back and say, aesthetically, based on her neighbors, what do we think? I hate to say it. I think at this point it really just comes down to aesthetics and what people's preferences are. Because as my email stated before, you can argue it both ways based on the guidelines. I don't know if that helps.
So comments?
yeah.
Peter Ramsey, yes?
I think the color choice of the blue is perfect. And I think, as Ashley has said, what it needs now is some accent color, just to soften the blue down a little bit and improve it. And if you look closely at the building, there is a lot of detail in the woodwork around the frame and the lower portion where the boards, vertical boards are there. There's some detail at the top. There's a lot of area where you could add a second or third color for detail. And the main thing, of course, is to get rid of that white door fast.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
Through you,
Councillor
Chair.
Huntley, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but she has actually put up a sign now, and it's kind of the same blue, and it's kind of got a gold tinge to it, like it's got gold piping around it. My guess is maybe we should talk to her, or if not, go have a look at that sign. Is I think maybe just carrying that same piping in through the storefront might be exactly what we're all talking about here.
I noticed that too, Huntley, that the sign seems to have the blue, and that may have influenced the color of the building. And so consequently, I agree with you that the sign could now influence the mixture of colors on the building to help break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I'd recommend having a look at that sign and maybe commenting back to will we follow through with that same piping for the rest of it?
Just a question. Are we in touch with the owner right now, Ms. Ayat, about sort of what things might happen? She's open to.
She is open, yeah. I haven't gotten back to her, truthfully, just because I was waiting until we met as a committee to kind of have a discussion. I did say to her, I said, there is a chance that, the committee may want you to repaint it. But I said, maybe there's something we can do to kind of work with what you have. And so I did say I would get back to her on it, and she was certainly fine with that. I think she seems to be a bit of a heritage person. So I think she's more than willing to try and observe any guidelines if they were in place. So I guess the question is, I'm not a good color person. I'll just say that right flat out. Is it appropriate to have somebody, like I would feel more comfortable if somebody who does have a little bit more understanding of color palettes and how to direct her as to what colors to select, could kind of either take a look at it and give me feedback that I could take to her, or talk to her directly. I'm not sure how anybody feels about that, but I'd just like to, I'm the kind of person to say, yeah, she's got to paint the building this color, the trim this color, and all of the little things inside the door this color, because.
So who would be interested in being assisting Ms. Ayat in this task on the committee?
I would be.
Bruce Lepper is interested.
Thanks, Bruce.
Anybody else?
I could participate. I'm not sure if I apologize. I am extremely busy right now. I'm actually doing this meeting while I'm in the car, so I am not driving. I could, once a plan is formulated, I could jump in and say, oh, this is great, or have you thought of this? If sort of foot half in, half out, if that is okay.
So I think, Bridget, you'd be happy with that kind of input?
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Can I just make?
Yeah, Peter, Ramsey, go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment about the sign. I haven't seen the actual sign, but I did see what was in the paper. Whoever painted the sign is not a sign painter, from the standpoint that it's poorly laid out, poor design, poor lettering. From a sign standpoint, you probably couldn't see anything as bad as what she's done. Obviously, that's where
I don't know about that.
Well,
there are pretty bad examples around. But anyway, carry on, Mr. Ramsey. Thank you.
Okay, then I won't call it a dog's breakfast, but
You're a dog lover.
We're getting pretty close to it.
Oh dear.
And I think that's where she got the colors from. Whoever made the sign is not obviously not a sign painter, but that's beside the point. She's paid somebody to do it. But having said that, that's where the color has come from. And as I say, I have no objections to that color at all. Unfortunately, the sign has been made, and I guess now it's hanging, and that's her own personal opinion and choice, and so that has to stay, and we shouldn't interfere with her bad taste. It'll be interesting to see what she does with the rest of the building.
Okay, do we have enough to go? Oh, yeah, sorry. No, I see no hands. Okay, do we have
Chair,
enough to
sorry.
go on? Yes.
Chair,
Yes,
if,
Chair, who's
you
talking to
don't
me?
mind.
Oh, Ashley,
This
yes,
is
carry
Ashley.
on.
Yep. So my suggestion would be, I think in my email I noted that the blue base, if we want to call that she chose, there's one quite similar in the guidelines. So I think my recommendation had been that if the choice was to sort of work with what is already there, using the guidelines like we should, it already outlines some options for the trim or accent colors. So you could use those as a sort of a baseline, and if they have to get a little darker or a little lighter, that might be the first step. The other thing is maybe if we're sort of like touching base with the tenant or owner, just to figure out like how much he's willing to paint, in the sense of like not only tell her, here's recommendations for accent colors, but like how far does she want to take it in the painting itself? Does she want to do the vertical accent colors sort of at the base panel? Does she just want to do the door and the trim around the windows? What I'm thinking is, if we're sort of already in this position to give her guidance, let's give her all the guidance, so she doesn't go and do something and then we're like, oh, that's not what we were intending. Like, it's almost like she needs to say, okay, I am willing to paint this, lower decorative panel, the trim around the windows. I can change the screen door, and then we can say, okay, yes, that is enough. Here's the color. So perhaps we need to reach out to her first to clarify what she is willing to do, and confirm with her that we've had a discussion as a committee. We are willing to accept the blue, but we need you to do some accents. Allow her to have some input as to what she wants to paint, and then we can confirm if that is enough or not enough, and then direct her with colors. Does that sound like an action plan that the committee would be willing to pose to her?
Sounds very fair in terms of her, giving her the reasonable direction and a fairly clear-cut message.
Mm-hmm. My concern is just often, when you give someone instructions, and I have to deal with this on a daily basis, is that sometimes verbally is just not communicated, and what happens is they interpret it incorrectly, and then there's a lot of back and forth. So my thought was, if we first approach her to say, we'll accept the blue base, but we need some accents, please confirm what you are willing to, or maybe we pose to her, we need minimum this painted. Once you confirm that, we will provide direction with color based on the guidelines.
Bruce, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I did. And I agree with what Ashley has said. I think if we can give her, in essence, a diagram of the areas that a second or third color can be added to, working with the color that she already has. The color I think is good, as Ashley said, it's close to the one that's in the guidelines. So working with that, I think we simply need to give her some guidance as to where a breakup will happen between those 2 or 3 colors, depending on how many may be necessary, but spell it out so she can see what our thinking is. And if she agrees with it, then I'm sure that she'll be willing to go ahead and do it. And I think she can have that discussion if she does or doesn't like things, and we can explain and work with her while she's still in this stage, and then give her the final, she'll go ahead and do it.
Right. Okay, Bridget, is that enough to go on for now?
Yes, that's great. Yeah.
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
We don't need a motion, do we? This is just direction from the Cindy? Do we need a motion?
So I would say, because she currently is not within the CIP criteria or initiative or any of that, I think ultimately what we're trying to do is work with her right now. So I don't know what I don't really think we need a motion, because we're not really given
No.
a direction yet.
No.
So I will say our next conversation, when we roll into the CIP 2021, if we get to that and whatever we decide to open for an intake and she participates in that program, then I think the committee could take a recommendation and the motion would go forward then. So I think for today, I think we're just trying to work with, provide our friendly guidance, because as it stands right now, there is no financial obligations or obligations as per our CIP that she has to adhere to. So I think for today, we're good.
I think it is a heritage building though. Like, I think it is a designated building, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then now we're just trying to work with right? We're just provide.
Yeah, I think you're still right, Cindy, in the sense that we're providing direction. We haven't.
Yeah, it's not.
I just wanted to make sure that we had that on the table. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that. So yeah.
Okay.
I would, if I may suggest that once we've worked out what the design would be and what the look will be, then that could be shown to committee. And if everybody agrees, then we give the go ahead to the woman to proceed with the paint job.
Okay. Okay, can we move on? Oh, sorry.
No, can I want to ask Bridget a question. She is going to open quite soon, is she not?
I thought she was already open, to be honest, Peter, but
Is she?
perhaps not.
I didn't know that. Well, I guess all I'm saying is, throughout this whole discussion, it's a great idea, but it better happen fast. And like really fast. Either if she is already open or she's going to open, this should be done and done quickly, because she's going to start, if she hasn't already started, working on the interior. Anyway, I'm just saying, as a committee, I don't think you better sit on it very long. Like, momentarily decide what you're going to do and make this presentation to her and get this thing going.
Right, as a subcommittee, as the people that are advising Britain, we've given that work to Bruce and to Bridget and Ashley. So yes, so that's
Okay, so I'm just suggesting that they do it tomorrow morning. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not going to happen, Peter. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but
Bridget,
I will do my best.
Okay.
I keep an eye on you.
I know you do. It's good. It's a good thing. I need that.
Okay,
Just
moving
not
on
tomorrow.
to item 9.2, the Ms. Ayotte again, the CIP for 2021.
Yes, so it actually is a good segue into the CIP for 2021. So council did allocate 25,000 for another round of CIP. We are still finishing up with the 2020 CIP, but this actually, I'm looking to the committee to give me some direction as to which programs you'd like to turn on. Do we keep with the building and site improvement and facade and signage? There are other programs which I can pull up for the committee to have a look at. I will say that certainly this repaint at 26 King, we could potentially offer the opportunity to apply for funding, in which case, I'm sure it would meet the criteria, but, you have to go through the process. But in that sense, we could, as a committee, offer some offsetting funds to cover the cost. So I think that's a nice bit of an olive branch. And there are two other property owners downtown that have expressed interest in some projects. So both would fit under the building and site improvement. So with that said, I don't know if you guys want me to pull up what the, just as a summary of what the projects or what the programs are, just to revisit them. And hang on a sec.
That would probably be helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Can you see my screen there?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll take you back just to the list so you can, and then we can kind of dig down a little deeper. So if you can follow my cursor there, there is the facade and signage improvement, building and site improvement, commercial conversion and expansion, downtown rental housing, POPS and public art grant, sidewalk cafe grant, design and study grant, planning application and building permit fee rebate grant program, and the redevelopment and adaptive reuse grant program. So do you want me to just kind of go and give you a little bit more detail on each one?
Sure.
Okay. So the facade and signage, you can see there, it's available to assist with financing of improvements to an existing building's facade. It's intended to promote aesthetic and functional improvements to buildings and properties, which otherwise may not occur due to cost premiums associated with these improvements. So it could be a bit of a lead into if we wanted to approach or discuss with the owner of 26 King about the potential of, reworking your sign, and provide some examples through our streetscape design guidelines. That might kind of provide a bit more aesthetically pleasing sign. I haven't actually seen it, so I apologize.
I think that's a really good move, Bridget.
Oh, thanks, Peter. Okay, so the building and site improvements, it's, I don't want to read through all of these, but it's more functional improvements, and it intended to extend the useful life, improve safety, and or increase the value of the building or property. It's intended to bring any buildings up to code for safe and usable eligible uses. Ramps or structures installed, that's just anything installed on municipal property. So you can do structural repairs to walls, ceiling, floors, foundations, ramps, elevators, lifts, interior restoration and redesign, repair, replace, installation of building infrastructure, roofing, windows, doors, so on and so forth. There's also parking improvements could be eligible and landscaping improvements. So if we go down to the commercial conversion, it's more intended to assist with small scale conversion and expansion of existing vacant or underused space into new commercial mixed use and other eligible uses. We haven't used that one before. So if a property was eligible for commercial conversion or expansion, you'd be eligible. So some of the costs would be conversion of non-commercial or vacant building space into new commercial, mixed use, secondary uses, and other eligible uses. Maybe the Tinny building. Conversion of existing ground floor commercial space to better suit a new commercial use. Expansion of existing eligible uses to increase gross floor area. Downtown rental housing grants. New residential, improve the condition of existing upper story residential units. The purpose is to support the availability of a wider range of more attainable housing options in Millbrook, which support the Peterborough 10-year housing and homelessness plan for the region. Let's see, eligible costs would be creation of new residential units of a mixed-use building, significant improvement in the quality of one or more existing residential units in the upper story, improve the quality of life for occupants, value of the unit. So you can, it would cover the cost of professional engineer, architect, landscape architect, or a planner to design and implement the project. POPS and public art grant. The assist with the permanent installation of a publicly accessible private space and outdoor artwork on private property. What else have we got here? That might be something you could use for the mural, just throwing that out there as I'm reading and thinking at the same time. Sidewalk Cafe, I think we all know what that one's about. Design and study grant, if there's any studies, plans, or designs that would investigate site-specific potential of an improvement project. So eligible costs would be any concept plans, structural analysis, traffic impact assessments, site plan drawings, environmental studies, so on and so forth. Planning application, building permit fee, rebate grant program. I think that's fairly straightforward. If you're making any planning applications to the township, minor variance, site plan approval, severances, so on and so forth, you could get a rebate. The redevelopment and adaptive reuse program, that is more of a, it kind of makes the increase in taxation. If you're kind of going from like a vacant building to a commercial operation, the taxes are going to jump. So it kind of stages those costs over time, as opposed to just going from one year to the next and having a huge jump. So we could do one or more programs, or we could, I think in the past, Councillor Huntley had, suggested we just kind of make them all available and see if somebody has a project that applies, let them apply. So what are your thoughts?
So just before people respond to that, do we have any sense at this point of interest of, of people that are, there's some scuttlebutt about people that might be interested?
Through your chair, I do have 3, potentially 4 projects that would fit under either facade improvement or building and site improvement.
Okay.
So these are just people that have expressed interest, and I've just said, okay, we haven't released the program yet, but when we do, I will circulate it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question I heard, which I thought was a good one, is do we want to just open it up and see what interest there is, remind people of the different categories, or is there are there particular areas that we want to focus on this year? Bruce Pepper.
I think I agree with Huntley's proposal. I think the most democratic thing would be to let people come forward with their programs, with their ideas, and then see how it fits with it, rather than just trying to structure it.
I agree with that.
David Franco agrees. Other Councillor Huntley, do you agree with yourself?
I do agree with. I obviously agree with myself. I guess the alternative is if we wanted to use one of these ones and specifically target, and I don't think that there is a specific target out there. Like I know Bridget alluded to, a particular residence that's downtown that would be fantastic to convert it. And if we kind of went in aggressively with, here's what we can do and here's an offering for you to help. That's one way, but I don't think this is the time, to be honest with you. I think letting this process flow the way we're letting it flow today is the right way to do it right now.
Right. Okay.
Chair, if I may
Yes,
jump in,
please.
I completely agree. Having now gone through the process twice in evaluating the submissions that came in, I think we're getting our groove in and finding how to evaluate. And if we just have a lump sum, and then, you know, if we have some really great submissions come in for one category, you know, money's designated to another. I just don't think that would work how we have found our groove to evaluate these submissions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think if we can just keep proceeding with, you know, we have this pot that is designated towards this program, and, you know, we evaluate them all fairly. What comes in the strongest gets the money towards their initiative.
Good. Okay.
It also, through your chair, sorry to interrupt it. It also gives us the opportunity, as staff, as we're kind of going, you know, as I was reading through some of them, I was thinking, oh, I don't know if there's very many that would be appropriate. But then as I was reading them through, I was thinking, there's some stuff going on downtown that we might actually be able to, you know, where we haven't really had you know, the conversation just kind of gets halted. It might be a good conversation reigniter or starter, right?
Yeah.
To be able to say, hey,
Catalyst.
that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Thesaurus Huntley. So yeah.
You've been called worse.
Okay, so there seems to be consensus, at least I haven't heard any objections to this line, that it's the way to go.
Yep.
Okay, so, and again, we don't need a motion for that, do we, Cindy?
I believe we do.
We do, okay.
But I believe a report has to go to council for the 3 initiatives that we want to initiate for council's endorsement, and then the program can actually be initiated. So I would like a motion with the 3 initiatives in it, unless Ms. Aya is going to tell me otherwise.
You're muted again, Ms. Ion.
Sorry. Yeah. I think I thought the general consensus of the committee was not the 3 initiatives, but all of them, to open them up and just let the applicants come in and make a project. If it fits and it's a good project, then it would be awarded funds. So I don't think there's just specific programs we're turning on. Is that what you meant, Cindy?
Are we comfortable as a committee that we are ready to turn on all of these initiatives and all of the pillars are in place, considering we want to run with it this year? That's my only hesitation to all of these initiatives.
That seemed to be what the committee was saying. So this is well, it's a good prudent warning, perhaps. We know what we're doing. We're comfortable with opening up any
in the
possible.
most respectful way. I really don't know anything about all those initiatives, so I don't want to tell you yes. I will turn to Ms. Aya so she's comfortable to turn all of these on.
Councillor Huntley?
Through you, Chair, I think it's okay to turn them on. The only one I would be a little bit hesitant of, because I don't think we have the mechanics to get through yet, is the tax deferral.
Yeah. And I don't, truthfully, we don't really have enough. We have a finite amount of money. So I don't think we would be able to provide a good enough program for somebody who wants to access that. So, you know, we could go forward with all of them but the TIG program, and with the caveat that, you know, you need, I think, a little bigger pot of money in order to be able to really make that program enticing.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of a motion,
so it would be that the committee supports in turning on all the initiatives in the CIP program, excluding the TIG program for the 2021 intake. I would say, if the group agrees.
Yeah, you can itemize them if you want, Cindy.
Well, you can help me finalize that motion.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we trust you to do that. So Ms. Stewart, do you want to move that? You all right moving that? Okay.
Yes.
And
yep.
Bruce Lepper is seconding you.
There.
Okay. So there's good. So all in favor, hands up. Peter, are you in favor too?
Yep.
Good. So verbally, Peter's in favor. Carried. Thank you. Okay. Can we move on to 9.3, the work plan? We went through the work plan last time in detail. I don't know whether we need to do that again. maybe we just need some updates if there are any. There may or may not be. Just let me get my work plan over here. Okay. So anything to update on the work plan? Otherwise, there it is. Oh dear. What have I done with it? It's here somewhere. Oh, there. Good. All right.
There it is.
So rather than walking through them all again, what I'm suggesting is this: if there's something to update, let's hear. So anything to update?
I can start us off if you want, Chairman
Yeah.
Ross. So we do have some updates. There's been a lot of things going on with initiatives 1 and 2. So I want to show some pictures here. Second here. Can you guys see the planter boxes?
Oh, right.
Yes, they look beautiful.
So these have been constructed and painted, constructed by Peter. And if there's anybody else that deserves credit, then kudos to you as well. And the township staff have gone in and painted them. So they were originally the wood. Now they've been painted the brown. This is the one by the.
They look great, Peter.
Yep. I agree.
There's benches painted.
Beautiful.
So I was speaking with Mr. Chris Allison prior to our meeting, and they hope to have the compost in tomorrow, if not early next week. And Peter has also acquired some plants and look fantastic, and they're in his backyard. So with everything lifting with tomorrow, I do believe there's no reason why collaboratively we can't have a planting day if that's something that the committee would be interested in.
Yep.
So we can touch base once we get the screened compost in, and if we want to coordinate a group of people that want to go have a planting day, we can definitely look at that. So Peter's done extremely well with the budget as well. So our landscaping budget was $1,400, and so far it's only $265.40 for the plants, but the compost, we will have to pay for that. So we don't have a final dollar on that. And the planter boxes themselves was $210 or $220 all said and done, and we had $2,500 for that. So we do have quite a bit of money left over, but as we had discussed at our last meeting, the Dial Monument is in dire straits of some love and some restoration, so we may need that money. We may need that money for then.
Good.
Okay.
That's
And,
great.
Cindy,
Peter?
can I just say that the boys delivered the wood for the boxes to my place and put it in the garage. And my neighbor, Gary Stelgrove, that lives at 2 Dufferin, which is just on the corner of Dufferin and Gravel
Okay.
Road.
We'll be very, we don't really say, okay, continue speaking, but let's try to be protective of protective information and people's information, but continue.
Well, I just think I just want you to know that I didn't do all this myself. I
Okay.
had some help.
Perfect.
And it was our neighbor that helped me.
Wonderful.
and we-
Well, you thank your neighbor.
Yes, I will.
And we thank your neighbor. It's the committee thanks your neighbor.
Okay.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good. That's great. That's really wonderful to see, and it does look. It looks good, and it's going to look even better. So, okay. Any other updates? Yes. I see Bridget's hand.
Sorry. Just
that right?
wanted,
Yeah.
Yep. So Peter, would it be appropriate for us as a committee to just draft a letter of thanks or get a little thank you card for the neighbor that helped you?
Yeah, it would be appropriate, and I'm sure
Yeah.
he would appreciate it too.
Okay.
And then just from, I can provide an update with regards to the Heritage Awards. So we have posted them on the website. We did send out, we've scheduled a bunch of social media blasts. There will be an ad going in the paper in August. So if you guys want to get out and shake the bushes and see if you've got something out there that, that could meet the criteria, there is an online application that people can fill out. There is also a PDF document that can be downloaded, and somebody could complete it by hand and just drop it off at the township office in the mail slot. Although I imagine the township office will be opening soon. We don't know when, but
We're just awaiting that extra piece of glass, and the gentleman was in
Yeah.
last week. So once we get another piece of glass in the front vestibule area, we will definitely be open back up to the public. We're just awaiting that.
Okay,
Beautiful.
good. Any other updates? Anything to update on the downtown mural?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bruce Supper, yes.
I have spoken,
Oops, he's freezing.
I spoke to Michael Vandermellen, the sign shop, and asked him if last October, needless to say, it's passed. He hasn't gotten back to me yet. He said he will do, having reviewed the quote as to whether there's any changes. And most likely there will be because of the time frame and with the cost of materials having gone up and so forth. That's one thing. The other is that I did hear back from Andy, the landlord.
Mr.
Don-
Mr.
Yes, and he'd raised a couple of really serious concerns, and I appreciate his concern to the installation of the mural on the wall. One, he's not sure that the wall would take that supporting of the mural. Secondly, I had suggested the possibility of mounting something on the roof that would hang over the parapet and support it down there. But he pointed out that he's had a very expensive roofing job done about a year or two ago and doesn't want to compromise the roof at all. So I am sympathy with that. So the alternative thought, I had talked with him, and I think there's a possibility for it, would be to mount it as a ground mounted type of standard, so that there'd be two posts. I don't know if my hand there, two posts on the ground that would go up the side of the building, and then the mural would be mounted on that, simply supporting an anchorage onto the wall so that it doesn't run the risk of falling forward. But that would give a support to the mural from the ground up rather than from the roof down. And I asked him about the amount of land that would be available there. I said, did his building go out to his property line, or is there a bit of leeway? He said, yes, there is. All of the shrubs that are in front of the building there are on his property. So there is better than about a foot width there that perhaps posts could be installed in the ground to support a mural there. Nothing more has been done other than just that discussion with him, but it is an opportunity to resolve a problem that is inherent with mounting it on a 120 some odd year old building.
That's for sure.
You know.
Could I ask Peter a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Peter, in your discussions with the sign people, did they ever indicate exactly how much those panels weigh?
No,
Peter, no. Okay.
They didn't? Okay.
no.
Yeah.
They are aluminum, but they didn't talk about weight in total.
Okay, well, we'll find out.
Okay. Aluminum is fairly light, isn't it?
But
Compared
those
to,
are, yeah, but those are big panels as well.
Yeah.
And of course, there will be the framing to support them around there.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the framing that will have all the weight in those aluminum posts.
Right.
The panels themselves will be extremely light because it's very thin aluminum,
Okay.
although it will have some weight to it. But
Yeah.
the weight is in the construction of the frame.
Chair, may I make a point regarding these aluminum panels?
Yes.
I think this came up in the previous meeting, concern regarding the structural integrity. This makes complete sense because not only, though aluminum is light, you would have to include the framing as well. And there would obviously be like a little bit of a gap behind the panels as well, so that the brick can still breathe. With that gap, though it's beneficial to the brick, then it allows for wind. So then you would be having to deal with the force of the wind that would, shake the panels against the brick, that could, loosen the mortar. So from a structural point of view, I think that the installation from grade would be a really good idea.
That's good to hear.
And through you, Chairman Ross, just worst case scenario, if we ever had to relocate it, we probably could, right? If it was on those posts in theory.
Yeah.
Way easier than trying to dismount it from the side of a building.
That's correct.
Was that true, Ashley?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
It would be no different than any other sign you would put up for, a temporary event or something like that.
Right.
It's just a little bit of manual labor for your posts, depending on how that's done, whether you pour a bit of concrete for the post to sit in, or you put a sonotube, whatever the final decision might be. But at the end of the day, it is essentially temporary, which is great. So
Yeah.
should something happen and it need to be moved, other than the cost of relocation and a new foundation for the posts, that's it. You still have your panels.
Good. So this is quite encouraging.
Yep.
Bruce, thank you.
Okay, well, once we find out what's involved with the cost of the production, and I don't know whether or not the mural has been photographed yet. I don't imagine it has. So now the question arises, would it be cheaper just to do the increased amount of Photoshop on the photograph once it's taken?
Through you, Chairman Ross, to Bruce, did Miss Ellis provide a picture? I thought she had one that we were going to try to use to see if the digital company could do anything with it.
In Peter's file that he passed on to me, there was a picture of the mural. I don't know if that is the one that Miss Alice supplied or not, but that's something we can definitely look into and see. It looks like it is a good photograph of straight on, but it may not be workable commercially. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I feel like we spent a lot of time discussing this in the committee hall or committee room for some reason. Okay.
Okay, can we move on?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Sorry, just one more quick point. I just wanted to touch base there. So I have emailed Kimberly Pope, she's our treasurer. She is on holidays for 2 weeks, so just to close the loop, because I think we have to start transferring the money that's left over in that original account over to the township and just kind of start that process as well. So perhaps staff could meet with the subcommittee and just, maybe touch base, make sure we have Karen Ellis's picture, make sure, all these I's are dotted and T's are crossed, just as we continue to move forward, meeting with Mr. Stevens, et cetera. Because I think the thought, unless the committee is going to change, is to still keep it at that location. So I think maybe let's just keep having these conversations, and maybe staff can help as well.
That's good. Yeah, that's very good. Okay. All right. Anything else? We've kind of touched on the other, we have talked about CIP. So anything else from the work plan? I don't see anything else on my copy. So that is it, is it not?
That is it, Mr.
Just
Chairman.
looking at the agenda here, that appears to be adjournment. And our next, sorry, go ahead.
Can I jump in there? It's not on the agenda, obviously, but it did come up in the last council meeting that the budget processing is starting. So I think, if as a committee, we should probably kind of get our noodles turning on kind of what projects we think we should be lining up for next year. And maybe just we don't have to talk about it now. We don't even need to talk about the next meeting, but just get the balls rolling.
You're flagging that, which is a good thing.
Good.
Yeah. Hard to believe, isn't it? If it's just
crazy.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Councillor Huntley, also known as Ryan.
I've been called a lot of things in this meeting today.
Yes.
Are you comfortable to coordinate the working day once we get confirmation that the compost is in there with the committee? Just whoever is able to go.
I mean, what you'd like me to send out an email?
Yeah, if you don't mind doing that.
I don't mind at
Okay.
all. Just
Perfect. And
will Mr.
I'll email
Ramsey.
you. I'll email
Okay.
you once the township has put the soil in there,
Sure.
and then if you can coordinate that. Do we
Yeah.
think we want to meet again next month, or do you think we're good till September? What does the group feel?
Cindy,
Peter.
just on that subject, when they're going to deliver that compost, you're gonna call me or Chris is?
I believe Chris is going to call you. Yes.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, because I want to be there when they dump it.
If you're
Okay.
not, though, they're still going to dump it in the most due respect. Okay. Like as soon as we get that, they're going to dump it. So if you're not available, I say that with the most respect. Please know that you can trust them and they'll put it in the boxes.
Do you think they can hit the boxes?
Absolutely.
It
We have
will be done.
amazing staff. There's no question in my
Oh,
mind.
okay. All
Okay.
right. That was
that-
my concern that the
And
boxes.
Peter,
weren't
I
big
understand
enough.
we have like an extra $1,000 worth of dollars we can go plant shopping with, eh?
Hey, yeah, I like that idea.
Okay. The question before us is, do we need an August meeting, or are we happy waiting till September 16th? That's middle of September.
Maybe I'm happy with the September meeting, but you could always call a meeting, Mr. Chairman, if you think it's necessary.
Okay. So are people all right with that? So
Can I
I'll
just
call-
ask?
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair.
carry on.
Do we think we're going to make any progress on the mural between now and September? If so, I'd say, we should probably meet and discuss what's going on with that mural.
Well,
Otherwise it can.
Through you, Chairman Ross, to Councillor Huntley, what if we touch base with Kimberly, see where we're at there, and if we feel there's enough information and we've gotten anywhere with Karen's picture and where we're at digitally and the quote gets back, then maybe we can have like a little subcommittee meeting or have like a little meeting with a couple members. Or Chairman Ross can call a meeting and we can meet if we have information. My worry is if we call everybody to the table or plan to call everybody to the table in August and we don't have the banking information, all the agreements and everything transferred over yet, it might just be premature, but we can definitely call a meeting if Councillor Huntley, if we get the information.
I certainly agree with that.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
call them. If necessary, I will call a meeting, but I think that's a good suggestion.
Because I think the intent
Madam
is
Clerk.
to keep this mural moving as quickly as we can and try to get something happen this year before we end up in frost and cold and winter. And
Sorry, on the same token, I think the same thing applies to 26 King Street, right? Like if they come back with a plan, do we not need to approve it before they execute it?
I understood the first attempt was going to be to try to talk to her about the trim and the potential design and where we go.
Right.
There's a chance she could say no, correct? Like,
No,
Is
not
there
in a heritage building.
Is her contact information available? It might have been in the article in the paper. I can't remember. But if I could get that contact information from her and her name, I could be in touch with her as far as.
But through you, Chair, to Ms. Ayad, in order for her to actually do anything further, she really does need this committee's approval, does she not?
and
I
council.
believe so. Yeah.
And
And councils, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I think, to Mr. Ramsey's point
heritage.
earlier, we don't want to hold her up until, the end of September. If we don't have to. So I think
If we don't
it's
have
same,
to,
so it's same token as the mural. I think if we have enough to move in August, I think we should move it.
Okay.
Yeah, because if we wait till September, then the next council meeting is not going to be until October.
Right.
And we're in July.
So
And
if,
in all honesty, this inquiry came in the end of May, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
agree. I think we should try to do our due diligence. How quick do you
And
think we're going to
can
have
I just-
information back to her, Miss Ayat? Like, do you think we can do something for August?
I'm more concerned about just what's already on my plate, but.
Are you taking a report to the August meeting to kick off the CIP for 2021? Because if you're not taking that to September, then that doesn't then close.
We hadn't
July.
a date. I haven't been directed as to what date to take it to council, but I hope it's not August, but I guess if it has to be, it has to be.
Well, don't we want her to go through the intake process if it's an option?
Yeah, we do. It's.
So she can't apply till it's open,
She can't apply till it's open. If she
which
applies.
pushes us to a September.
Right. So at this point, given what we've just heard, I think it's still wise to see whether we have business to do, but if we do in August, but it sounds like we might have business to do. So do you want to wait and hear? We need to wait and hear whether we will have a meeting or not, but it sounds like there could be a meeting in August because we don't want to let things drag.
So we'll touch base, and if the report goes forward in August, then we'll meet and we'll talk to Chloe about the initiative if everybody agrees, and if not, then we'll touch base on that item in September. And if we get information on the mural, then we'll definitely reach out as well. I think you're right, though. They need to stay in the forefront. You're absolutely right, Councillor Henley.
So if we had an August meeting, do we have a tentative date, or are we just gonna? It'll be at my call in consultation with staff.
I would
Usually
say
the
it's at your call, but the third week would be the 19th of August.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe pencil that in, but
Tentatively.
we'll wait and see what we've got to work with.
Yeah. Because I believe I'm on holidays the following week.
Okay.
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 So, Chair, Mr. Chair, can I make a comment just back to the mural?
Okay.
Well,
I really would like to adjourn this meeting, but carry on.
I know you would.
Okay, good.
I would just like to make one point.
Yes.
They have not made any discussion about having to hire John Lacey, who's the artist who painted the mural. And amongst all of the coordinating of the construction and the photography and everything else, John Lacey could also get tied up in a contract for a mural someplace else. And I think you should get in touch with him because you've got to coordinate him with everything else if you decide to retouch the mural. Just a thought.
Thanks. So Bruce, you heard that?
I did. I just made a note. Yeah.
Bruce has just made a note.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. No more little agenda items to slip in at this point?
No, I think let that go for now.
Okay, thanks, Peter. That's helpful information, though. Very helpful. Okay, well, could I have a motion for adjournment? Please.
Well, I might as well do it.
Peter Ramsey is moving.
Yeah.
Oh, not. I don't think that's possible.
Well, then you don't have to hear from me for a little while.
Okay. And Bruce has seconded it. So all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. That was a good, productive meeting. And so we'll be in touch if a meeting in August is necessary. And also in terms of the work party, when I get my instructions, I'll send out emails to people.
Good.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Good. Thank you
Thanks,
very
everybody.
much.
Enjoy the summer if we don't meet again.